Hey yo, how's it going everyone, and welcome back to some more Satisfactory, where today we're going to be working on a massive turbo fuel power plant, over in the blue crater over there. I am chilling on top of the space elevator right now. It has been a couple of months. I have had to take a break from the game for a while, but I am back now, and in the process of getting ready to start recording again, I discovered that I had an old video that was like halfway, well, it was really done, edited but not exported or anything, waiting to be released. So that was the last video before this. Now we are back for real this time, and I am very excited to get to work on this giant turbo fuel and rocket fuel power plant over here. However, it's already been started because I recorded a little bit a couple of months ago of me actually getting started on it. So really fast, we're gonna go jump back in time and check out what happened back then and get you all up to date on what's going on now. Originally, my plan was gonna be to do this big, huge, crazy, complicated factory to automate everything we need to unlock particle enrichment so that we could unlock nitric acid, because we need it for one of the recipes for the turbo fuel plant to make as much of it as possible. However, now that I have had 2 months to think about it, I am instead just going to purchase with tickets the stuff that I need to unlock turbo motors and then unlock particle enrichment, because I'm going to just be making an actual permanent factory afterwards to automate them anyway. So why spend a bunch of hours automating it to destroy it and then rebuild it into a final factory? I would just do the final factory now, but I definitely would not have enough power to do. Well, no, I would not have enough power to do that. Also, I've started to set up a handful of batteries here. I just finished it. They're starting to charge. I'm not even done with the tower yet. I just went ahead and made a little simple blueprint, fit as many as I could into a little tower design over there, and I'm gonna just keep making it taller. I still never actually finished the steel factory, now that I think about that, but that's not for right now, that's for later. Anyway, let's go ahead and buy some fused modular frames and supercomputers and unlock the good old leading edge production.
The Miner Mark III provides top-of-the-line resource extraction potential, making it even easier to contribute to project assembly. Project part number 8, the thermal propulsion rocket, is the most complex project part of this phase, as it requires turbo motors, and thus requires your best. Fix-It didn't think pioneers such as you could get this far. I am glad we have both proven them wrong.
You know, now that I do have Miner Mark IIIs, it would take a lot more tickets to do it, but I could set up some Miner Mark IIIs on some of the nodes that I'm using, and then I would have to use less nodes. Unfortunately, I can't make any more turbo fuel because I'm limited by nitric acid, although there is some more over here, but I want to leave that open for a project down the road. I don't want to use a ton, like we're already using all of it in this biome. But I could use the Miner Mark IIIs on the sulfur and potentially not have to use... So, like, I think I was going to use a node from over here. I wouldn't have to use that one, so that would take off a lot of time building all that over, which would be nice. Okay, it's back. Let's go ahead and unlock particle enrichment.
Milestone reached. Project part number 9, nuclear pasta, can be created in the particle accelerator. The accelerator has vast and fluctuating power demands, depending on the recipe, so will need careful integration with your factory. Fix-It does not waste, so nuclear waste can be refined by the particle accelerator into plutonium for reuse in a nuclear power plant. Fun fact: Fix-It psychologists suggest factory designs reflect the minds of their creators in unexpected ways. On an unrelated note, your infrastructural choices have been interesting.
Well, thank you. Anyway, let's go ahead and head over to the turbo fuel plant. Alrighty, here we are over in the blue crater for the turbo fuel plant. Now, let's see. Well, I kind of started laying down a couple of foundations. Initially, I wanted to try that whole, like, BIOME paving thing that Kibitz does, but I do not want to do that anymore. I want to do something different. And to do that, I'm going to have to switch over to 1.1, which is still in experimental at the time of recording this, so hopefully it doesn't completely annihilate my save. I'll make a backup, so it'll all be fine. But we'll find that out. And I kind of had a few different ideas. I like the idea of having some sort of like dam wall with tiers of fuel generators going up it. I think that could look really cool. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and hop over onto 1.1 and check it out, see what's going on with it, see what I have to buy, and then hopefully be able to buy all the stuff that I want. Okay, here we are. We are in 1.1 now, and I've been testing, walking around the world. Everything seems to be just fine. I took a look in here. Apparently we can buy, it says Pioneering Awards, but it says hard drive. Is that a mistake? I don't know why that's there under Pioneering Awards. Is it actually a hard drive and you can just buy hard drives now? Or is it an award but they messed up the description? No clue, but it's there. However, we got the, yes, the free placement conveyor wall holes, throughputs. What else is there? The shelves, elevators, the more beams, and cables. Okay, well, how much is this gonna run us? 30 coupons. I have like 7. I have 9. I have 9 coupons, because I just spent all of them. I have 10 coupons. I'm a third of the way there, and this is gonna take forever now. So I'm going to loop up some of the alien remains that I still have real fast. Well, that gave me 6 more coupons, which is definitely not what I was hoping for, but I think I can buy a couple of things real fast. And then I'll just continue accumulating points while I keep working. So it won't be the elevator or the conveyor throughput or the conveyor hole, because I'm not doing anything with that yet. Oh, actually, I'll get the wall hole, because that is just under the amount of stuff that I have right now. And then that leaves me with 1 coupon, and it's just the throughput and elevators. Now that I've unlocked all the decoration stuff that I wanted to unlock, well, I can go ahead and head back over and actually really get started on some real design work. Okay, back in present day, we are on 1.1. It has been fully released for a little bit now. And I have also turned back on Lumen because there seems to have been some major performance improvements. And I'm running fine with Lumen now. I'm getting higher FPS in that electronics factory with Lumen on than with Lumen off before 1.1. So, obviously the last thing we have to unlock is nuclear power, but before we can do that, we got a lot of other stuff to do, and I think I'm just gonna wait till phase 9 for all that new stuff. I have no idea how any of it works, but I believe there's some new stuff with the tech in tier 9, so I'll just wait until then before I even bother with a nuclear power plant. Anyway, let's go ahead and head over to the blue crater here. And I've made a little bit of progress, by which I mean quite a significant amount of progress. I have placed down all the machines required to automate all the turbo fuel, I think. Almost all of it. Not the little extra excess, which we'll take a look at the planning sheets. But I ended up deciding to just go for the whole concrete biome paving thing, and obviously I still have more to do around there. Which I was thinking, this will be enough space. It's not gonna be enough space. I'm gonna need to fill up this whole area because there's like multiple hundred fuel generators that I have to place, and oh boy, that's gonna be fun. So, holy crap, a lot of work. I kind of was since I had taken a break from the game for so long, coming back to a big project like this was kind of scary, and I was kind of hesitant on doing it, and then I just got back into it by just laying down concrete foundations everywhere, just to get a feel for the space. And then I designed a couple of blueprints, and then I just started placing down machines, got into a groove, and just ironed out all of this over a couple of days. So, let's take a quick look at the planning sheet again, and see what all these machines are doing. Over here, what we are going to be doing here is we got all these materials. These are all that I have access to in the, well, I have access to plenty more iron and stuff in the blue crater, but this is all I need. These are all of the main materials, the max amount that I have access to: oil, sulfur, and nitrogen gas. So we are taking 1800 oil and doing this process here to turn it into turbo fuel by just making a whole crap ton of heavy oil residue, sending 400 off to make 800 fuel with the diluted fuel recipe in the blender, sending 400 off for 1200 petroleum coke, And then the other 1600 just goes straight into the turbo blend fuel alternate recipe, which just takes sulfur and petroleum coke, which the 1200 sulfur is as much as we have access to. So that gives us 2400 turbo fuel there. Now we'll take that and we will take 2250 of it and combine it with all of the nitrogen gas that we have access to. And we will turn that nitrogen gas, combining with some water and iron plates, by making nitric acid, and it makes 375 of it. We combine that with 2250 turbo fuel to make 3750 rocket fuel with, I believe this is just the default recipe. Yeah, it is. And then that also leaves us with 375 compacted coal left over. Now, the regular turbo fuel recipe, or is this a regular? Yeah, the regular turbo fuel recipe also takes compacted coal. So we can use a little bit more oil because we have way more than we're using. And we can turn that into more fuel and then combine that with the compacted coal that we get from this rocket fuel setup to make even more turbo fuel. And then this 150 here is the 150 left over from this original production line because we don't use all of it to make the rocket fuel. Now, in total, there will be 360 fuel generators for the rocket fuel, and then 33 additional for turbo fuel. Although I want to look into drones a little bit more, I might just let this be and use the rest of the oil because we still have a bunch left over. Oh wait, no, I can't make more turbo fuel, can I? Because I need compacted coal. Maybe regular fuel. I don't know. We'll see if it's really more efficient to use turbo fuel or if it's good to just stick with batteries or whatever. Or maybe I'll use rocket fuel. Who knows? I'll find that out later. Before I hook all these up though, because I'll need to know what I'm diverting elsewhere if I'm doing any of that. So far, what I have placed down is just all of the machines that do this. 60 refineries for heavy oil residue, and then the refineries and blenders to make the 2,400 total rocket fuel. Now, back in game over here, we can see these over here are all the 60 refineries that make the, let me fly here with the hover pack. There we go. 60 refineries that make the heavy oil residue, all using the heavy oil residue recipe, obviously. Now, these are all a blueprint, which we'll go over that in a second. These machines here are 10 refineries to make petroleum coke, all that we need there. These blenders make the diluted fuel, and then all of those blenders over there make the turbo fuel. And as for belting and piping everything over, the numbers actually add up pretty simply, I don't know if that's the right word, pretty easily. So obviously the Mark II pipes can hold up to 600 fluid per minute. Now, I have 8 blenders making the fuel. Each of them takes 50 heavy oil residue. So that in total is 400 heavy oil residue that we need for this. And conveniently, each refinery makes 40 heavy oil residue, so we just throw 10 of them together, which is half of a line. Each of these lines is 20, 40, and then 60. So we take half a line, 400, goes in, gets distributed to all 8 blenders. Easy, simple. Move on to the next thing, which conveniently as well, the petroleum coke. I have 10 refineries. We need 10 refineries to make them. They each take 40 as well. So we can just combine the second half of this row, which is 10 more machines for 400 heavy oil residue total, into 10 refineries, making all the petroleum coke we need. I forget, it's like 1200, I think, something like that. And then it just gets belted over on 2 separate belts. I did half and half, I think, for each belt. Yeah, I put 5 on each belt because, yet again, the math just easily lined up to where I can distribute the petroleum coke evenly halfway between all of those blenders over there. Now, as for the diluted fuel, it gets 100 per minute out of each machine, so we just belt that over with 2 pipes. Super easy, super simple there. And then all of the water that we need for the diluted fuel is coming from these 4 water extractors over here that are set down here, because obviously we're on top of the Blue Crater Lake, so there's plenty of water. When I was first laying out the foundations, I swear I made it high enough to where I could fit water extractors underneath, because that was my plan, because I'm going to need a lot of water. Turns out I didn't, which is very annoying. So, over on this end, I don't remember how far out the water goes, but I might have to raise bring this part of the foundation over a little bit, so that way we can throw some water extractors under it easily. Obviously, now this whole first row machines, all this is covered. Everything all gets sent over to the turbo fuel machines, which we'll get to in a second. And then as for the rest of the heavy oil residue, I believe I did the same thing again, where I split it up into 10 machines halfway down. Yep, I did 10 machines per belt because the math lined up easily. So there's 400 in each of these pipes, and there's 4 pipes because there is 2 rows of 20 or 4 sets of 10. And it all comes over on the 4 pipes. It's belted over into the turbo fuel blenders over here. Now, math works out easily. Because I decided to overclock the machines by 133.33%. Because that way it takes exactly, I think this is 40 machines. Yeah. If you overclock them to 133%, just 1 power shard per thing. That's 40 power shards. I have more than enough power shards. All the math is just super easy to do because all the numbers are super nice round numbers that all can be divided by the production values that I already had set up. Instead of the 22.5 crap. That's annoying. So all of the heavy oil residue, there's 400 in each line or each pipe. They all go into 1 row. In this case, these first 2 rows that only have 5 blenders in a row, 1 pipe is going to 10 blenders, and then yet again 1 more pipe is going to 10 blenders, and then these last 2 pipes go down here, and over here we have 10 blenders in a row. 1 pipe can go into 10 blenders because it takes 40 heavy oil residue. 40 times 10, 400. Math, very easy. As for the petroleum coke, since we have 5 machines per belt, there's 600 coming down here, and we need 30 per machine. 30 per machine. So each belt, there's 2 total belts. Each one goes into and gets split up between 20 machines, which in this case, 1 belt is being fed to all of these 4 rows of 5, and then the other belt gets fed to the 2 rows of 10. Same exact thing will happen for sulfur once I get that set up and belted over, which it's not ready yet. And the fuel, the 20 per minute, we need 20 per minute of fuel. We have 2 pipes of 400. So yet again, very easy. Fuel just gets belted up into 20 machines each, split up. Math is super easy. Outputs are also super easy. There is 60 turbo fuel being made. So I can just combine 10 machines into 1 belt for a full 600 belt. So we just have 1, 2, 3, 4 full belts of turbo fuel being outputted, and we'll take them wherever they are gonna end up needing to go. And we're left with this nice little space in the center. All these power lines will be removed. They're just here so I can fly around on the hover pack. Now let's take a quick look at the blueprints, because I did enough yapping about all the math. For the blueprints, I decided to just do a fairly simple, just catwalks, stuff like that everywhere. Obviously, I have to connect all these up. I have not gotten to that part yet. But we just put as many refineries as I could fit in the blueprint designer. And then as for, I put outputs, I made them have the little teal signs because they actually just snap on right there, which is pretty neat. And then on inputs, I did the white signs. And fairly simple, just, you know, belting the pipes together. Nothing too crazy. Belting all the outputs in the same spot. All that. And then the catwalks. Just a simple catwalk right above where the belts go. And then I just threw in 2 of these on either end. And same on this side. I threw 2 ramps down. And when the blueprints are tiled together, they connect perfectly just like that. So you can walk between the machines and everything. And it looks pretty cool. Adds a lot of just other extra stuff happening, makes it look a lot busier, which is what I want to go for in this area. And for blenders, very similar. Same idea with a catwalk doing stuff. We just have the pipes being belted on the lower floors, and then, pipes being routed on the lower floors, belts being belted on the higher floors. Same ordeal with white inputs, blue or teal outputs. And then I just made this catwalk. You can actually, what's the word? It connects directly to the blender right there. So I just use that as a snapping point. There we go. It just snaps to the blender right there. So I use that as the snapping point to place the catwalk on. Unfortunately, it's like 2 nudges short of connecting. So there is a little bit of overlapping there, but it's fine and it works well enough. And it looks pretty cool, I think. Now for this thing here, we had this geothermal generator right in the center here, so I made a circle around it and did this pillar thing. This was one of the first things I did when I came back after I was just placing a bunch of concrete to kind of get back to designing in this game and everything. And I wanted to use some of the new 1.1 stuff, so I just threw some of the new beams and cables and stuff on the pillars. I think it looks pretty cool. And then I messed around with the curved pipe build mode to check out how this would look. What I did here is I've just sunk in the pipelines supports into the ground at the two corners, connected it with a curved pipe, and then I went through and lined up, if it'll let me put it there. I went to various spots and tried lining up the pipeline support as close as I could get it. If I do, can I fly please? Thank you. Like there, it's not a perfect curve, but like close enough. Then I just delete it, reconnect it. I think this looks pretty cool. Reminds me of Star Wars, just like random, you know, stuff going everywhere. So I think I want to go ahead and continue it around because I think it could look pretty cool. And there we have it. That is everything I have done so far in the past couple of months of being away after getting back into the game. The next step is going to be getting that nitrogen gas over and figuring out where I want to place all of the blenders to make the rocket fuel. Dang, I need 51 blenders total. Actually, I could make it 50 blenders exactly. I can overclock the one extra. I need 0.5 blenders on both of them, but I could overclock one of them, and then it makes it 50, and then it's a nice even rows. I'll figure that out later. Anyway, 50-something odd blenders, and a handful of constructors and smelters for the iron plates to make all the rocket fuel, which... This is only 40 blenders, and it took up this entire area. There's no way I'm fitting 50. Well, maybe I could fit all the blenders across this whole zone. Okay, there might be enough space for me to fit in 50 blenders in here. I think I could do that. Yeah, I can definitely fit in 50 blenders here. I could fit in... let's find out. How many blenders can we fit in this row? We'll say we'll give ourselves about a tile of space. And unfortunately, that's the other bad thing about this blueprint with the overlapping stuff. I can't easily just place them perfectly. Unfortunately, I have to nudge each one in twice just because it overlaps from me using the snapping point that's directly attached to the blender. But it's fine. It's not that bad. You just gotta hit the arrow key twice every time you place something. Ooh, okay, that's less space than I would like. Well, the machine's on the corner, so that's enough space. How many blenders is that? Oh, it's 9. Dang it, we're one blender short of having nice even rows of 10. However, I only need 2 rows of 6 for making the nitrogen gas, but then that leaves so much space there. 3 fit in this way. 9 times 3 is 18, but 18, and we need 30, no, I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into the math of the recipes more before I figure out exactly where I can place everything, because if the math lines up to where I can have these rows of 9, then I'll just do the rows of 9 and it'll be easy. But if not, then I gotta figure something else out. So I'm gonna go take a look at the math for a bit and see exactly what I can do here. Okay, well, the blenders are in place for the nitric acid. I ended up going with 2 rows of 6, and then that also left enough space for a gap there, and then enough room to get the smelters and constructors we needed for the iron plates for said nitric acid. So now all I have left to do for the nitric acid is just belt over water, which there's room here. I can probably throw some of the water extractors here, either that or in a gap that's over here. Which the blenders for the rocket fuel are also now all placed. But I've also belted over the nitrogen gas all the way down to the machines over here. So that's all ready to go. So all I have to do is just get the sulfur belted over from way over there. And then I think just the water. And then that's all like the real resources we need, unless I'm forgetting something. But the rocket fuel is... blenders are all placed. There's 38 of them. This one's overclocked or underclocked to 50%. So turbo fuel, nitric acid, all belted over and everything. I have the pipes labeled over here. I think it's like 4 600 lines and then a 225 or something like that. 450. Oh, 450. Huh. Anyway, we have what, 3 rows of 9, 2 rows of 4, and then an additional 3 overhanging. That leaves us with a nice space bordering the little pyramid thing. The whole, like, belting up the turbo fuel and everything is fairly simple. Actually, how did I even do it? I already forgot. It's been a couple of days, and now I've been messing with the outputs, because the outputs are being very annoying. What did I do? I think it's like 6. These are 600 pipes. These take 60. Oh, it's just 10. It's just 10 machines per pipe, but these are rows of 9, unfortunately, so there's a little bit of overhang. But I started back here with these 2 rows of 8, and then the 2 left over for 10, and then 7, and then 3, and then 6, and then 4, and then the rest all go to the final set of 8 there, but that one's underclocked 50% with the 450 pipe. Math, woohoo. This started to get a little bit more annoying, but it wasn't too bad. And thankfully the nitric acid, I only need like 375 or something of it total, because it only takes 10 so per machine, so it's all just belted over on one single pipe, and it'll just manifold overflow the whole way through. As for the outputs, those are being a little bit more annoying. I had to manually go back and switch so that the mergers were on the floor, because these will all combine into, all the compacted coal will go into one belt. As for the rocket fuel coming out, each machine produces 100 per minute. So I can only have 6 machines per pipe, which got a little bit annoying to deal with. So what I did is I combined these 4 machines and these 2 into this pipe here. That's down here. And then these 2 here are just going to be routed over along this way, and I'll deal with them in a second. And then here we have, oh, that's inputs. I thought I forgot about 4 machines here. That's inputs. This is 6 machines here, and then 3 left over, and then I'm going to do another 6 machines as one belt. 3 left over. These 6 will be one more belt, so that's 3 full pipes so far, and then the additional 2 machines on this pipe. And then over here we'll have another full pipe of 6, and then we'll combine the 3 and the 2. Or wait a second, this one's overclocked or underclocked. What would be the best way to go about this? Let's see here. So we have 2 and 3, that's 5. Then we combine that with this one to make 6. And then that, oh, wait a second. Hold up, I can make this a lot easier. Okay, if I change this one to be 100% clock speed, right? Then these 6 can just be one belt here. Super easy, super simple. And then we have the 2 rows of 6, 2 full pipes there, and then the 3 on the end of each of these 2 combine into one full belt. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full belts of rocket fuel plus 6, or plus 1 full belt equaling 6 full belts of rocket fuel with these 4 and these 2. And then I can just underclock, how do I connect these? Underclock this one to be 50%. And then there's the additional 150 rocket fuel. That makes belting or piping these things together a lot easier. Perfect. So now, all of these machines here is, unless I'm missing something, this is everything we need to get rocket fuel going. We just have to place a bunch of fuel generators now, pretty much. Now, I do need some space for converting the compacted coal into more turbo fuel, which I'm probably gonna, oh, a little bit of a lag there with the autosave, which I'm probably gonna do up there. I'm sure there'll be enough space up there for a handful of machines, and then that way, you know, everything from this over and all of this is just fuel generators. I'm pretty confident that'll give me enough space, and I can keep extending this as far as I need, because there's like 300 something of them, which I went to go look at the how much a fully overclocked fuel generator is going to use of rocket fuel, and unfortunately when it's at 250% it uses 10.42 fuel per minute, which is a very annoying decimal to deal with. So I'm going to, instead of doing 360 fuel generators overclocked to 250%, I am instead going to overclock them to 240%. And then that bumps the number of fuel generators up to 375, but you know, that's just 15 additional generators. That's not that big of a difference for so much easier math, because then each fuel generator uses a perfect 10 turbo fuel per minute, so that is a nice 60 fuel generators per pipe. And it's super easy, and I don't have to deal with all this overflow crap. Because I ain't about to deal with none of that. I just want to place down a bunch of generators in a row and send a pipe through all of them. So now the last thing I gotta do is finish getting all these pipes together, and I think I might want to just route them down this way and bring them up the center here instead. I do kind of have this nice space for it, and it would look pretty cool with however many pipes there are. I already forgot. So I think I'm gonna slightly adjust. I was just gonna bring them up as they are ready to go, but I think it'll look a lot cooler to have some like main bus line going through here. Right up almost kind of center, splitting the two halves, because this will probably go out farther, I imagine. Maybe not, I don't know. Maybe I won't need this space, I don't know. Because I have that spot over there, which I have to finish off. I have all this. I have technically that upper layer, although I don't think I'm going to use any of it. And then I have this shelf here, and then I have another shelf there, and then I optionally have another shelf up there, which I might use. But there is also still a bunch of oil left over that I can use to just make a bunch of extra plastic and rubber. I might as well, because I have the oil available. Or I just package it and send it somewhere else, because I don't really have much room for water extractors, because I made the dang floor too low on accident. That'll be something to figure out for later. Okay, what was I doing here? Let's see. I started working on blueprints for fuel generators before I started any of the, like, before I had barely even started laying out concrete foundations. When I first came back to the game, I started messing around with a fuel generator blueprint. And I don't know what I was doing. I don't know if I like this very much. I do like the concept of where it was going with the whole like caging this in and having more supports and stuff. But then I kind of ended up switching the style that I was using. Well, I mean, the catwalk's there, that could work. But I don't think it was aligning right when I was messing with it, if I remember correctly. And there are going to be two things there. And I really don't want to have this blueprint be one that I have to like repeatedly nudge into place. I do like the idea of having like the additional supports and catwalks and stuff, but now with what I've done over here and everything, it's just catwalks everywhere, which I still have to finish all of that. But I'm gonna save the decoration for after I get the fuel plant running. That way I can debug stuff while I'm still working over here, instead of pausing another project to come back and take a look at if anything goes wrong, which I really should test stuff individually. With the pipes, I can't really test throughput all that well. I mean, I'm pretty confident. The math was all fairly simple. It's fairly straightforward. So I don't think there should be any major issues there. Anyway, but I'm going to wait to, you know, bring all the catwalks. I want to just have catwalks going everywhere, connecting to all the walls and everything to connect all the rows. Just a bunch of clutter and stuff happening everywhere. Okay, thinking about it more, I don't think I want to do any sort of additional walkway or anything like that with the foundations or any supports over the pipes, because I didn't do it anywhere else, so I don't really think it would work. But I definitely want to do a thing with the catwalks up here. However, I don't know if these are actually going to tile how they should, without needing to like nudge them like I have to do with the Blender blueprints. So if they do not, then I definitely won't be using them. Oh, that is right. Awesome. Okay, they probably designed that to do that. Oh, wait, but this goes out farther because it's on that. Ooh, okay. Maybe we just sacrifice a little bit more space. I think that'll work for the catwalks. Now I just need a wall outlet for the power connection. Okay, let's see. Hopefully this thing tiles all right. Except I think I want to do them in rows like this, because dang it, it's one off. Why is it one off? What's hitting first? That is, so that's not aligned properly. Now an easy fix is to just nudge them in place. Oh, it's not even there. It's slightly overlapping. Dang it. Although that is how close I want them to be. That's like that's a better distance. Man, why they gotta be doing that? At least the sides line up. So maybe I just don't connect the row? Or actually, if the sides line up, then all I have to do is just nudge the first one in, and then I can just place them all like this. And then do it like that, and then it'll be fine. So I think that might just be the blueprint. Stick with the theme that I've gone for everywhere else. Fairly simple, just throw in some catwalks to make it look a little bit busier. That's kind of the whole theme of this area, is open, not a whole bunch of details or anything, just catwalks, and it looks busy. So yeah, sure, I'm happy with this blueprint. I don't mind nudging one time when I first start a row, and then everything else will just line up and it'll be fine. Now I just have to figure out how to best utilize this space for one pipe going to 60 machines. But actually, before we really do any of that, I have to fix this, which is like 2 meter foundation off. I don't even know how that happened, but I have to completely remake this whole wall so that it lines up with the rest of it. Wait a second. Oh, that's how it happened. This 2 meters is just tall enough for me to fit water extractors underneath. So somehow I got off of this grid and 2 meters below. Probably when I was messing with the circle, trying to make the circle around the generator there. I bet that's what happened. But I also have to deal with sulfur, and to be honest, I don't really want to wrap my head around trying to figure out placements of stuff right now. So I'm going to go over to the sulfur nodes, which I believe are just over here. There they are, right here. 3 sulfur nodes here, and then I think there's one more over here, something that I'm going to have to use as well. Just because I'm limited to the 750 with belt speed. If I had Mark 6 belts, I could just put 1200 on this pure node and then we'd be good. I wouldn't need any of the other nodes, but we cannot do that. There's 2 generators here, really? Huh. Anyway, I'm gonna just get started on belting these guys over. Probably just send them under the concrete foundations, call it good. Belt them up to the machines, and then we'll be all good to go there. And then once all that's done, I can start continuing to throw in more concrete up to here where I need it, and figuring out placement of fuel generators. Okay, the sulfur has been belted over. Now I went ahead and just handmade the handful of items I needed to get a Mark III miner, and I put it on this normal node because then I can overclock it to be 600 per minute there. And then I only need a Mark II miner on this sulfur node to be 600 per minute, and that gives us the 1200 per minute that we needed. That way we only have to use 2 nodes, so we still have this impure node open if we need it. And I didn't have to belt over the stuff from the impure node way the heck over, like all the way over here somewhere. So that worked out really well. Now if I had Mark 6 belts, I could just throw a Mark III miner on this one, and then I have, on this one, and then I have all the sulfur I need, but I don't have those yet. So just simply belted them over, send them down here. We'll detail this little cutout and everything, make it look better. They just go underground, and then once they go underground, I was less worried about how they look and everything. So I just sent them along the roof, sent them down, they go over, they connect underneath the floor. You're never gonna see it. It doesn't matter all that much. I've also gone ahead and actually connected all of the turbo fuel pipes, doing what I was talking about earlier. I connected these 3 machines, and then 6, and then those 6, and then the 3 rows of 6 back there, 6 more, and then the 2 left over, the one that's 50%, is this top pipe here that only has 150 fuel. All the other 6 pipes have 600 fuel, and then threw some pumps in here just to be safe. I'm assuming I'm gonna need them. We'll find out. And I also snuck in 2 water extractors underneath this heavy oil residue pipe here. So that way I didn't have to make a cutout for them to get the water that we need for the nitric acid. So I'm pretty sure that means everything is actually technically ready. Oh, actually, I forgot to hook up the turbo fuel to the blenders to make rocket fuel. So besides that, everything is done now except for placing the fuel generators. But the fuel generator placements are gonna have to wait for next video, because I realized if I was gonna, fully overclock every single one, that's gonna be like 1,000 something power shards, which I have, but I don't know if I want to actually use 1,000 power shards here. And so I tested how many fuel generators it would be if I was to not overclock any of them, and it's like 900 or over 900. I think I might overclock some of them, but not all of them. Maybe I can overclock 2 or 4 pipes or something, and then leave the rest not overclocked. We'll see how much space it takes up. I'm gonna start by getting 1 pipe of fully overclocked, or almost fully overclocked fuel generators set up and just see how much space it takes. And then if it doesn't actually take up that much space and I'm thinking I'll have plenty of space, then I just won't overclock the rest. That way we don't have to use 1,000 power shards. Because turns out I actually don't have as many power shards as I was thinking I did. I do have the full depot's worth of power shards, which is 500. That would put me at using up entire depot's worth, and this, it would leave me with about a row left. I've collected a good chunk of the power slugs in the world. I think this kind of bottom half of the world barely has anything left. I know there's still a bunch up here, and I don't remember any of the rest of the world from back when I explored the whole world to collect all the Mercer Spheres and Summer Sloops and everything. But I would rather leave as many power shards open for later down the line until I can unlock power shard automation, so that I have them just in case I need them. Because I do not want to be in the situation that, at least at the time of filming this, Gibbets is currently in, where he has 0 power shards left in the entire world and he doesn't have tier 9 unlocked yet. Now, I'm not going to be going as anywhere near as extreme or anything, so the chances of me getting to that point are very rare, but I would still rather not have to go out and collect any more power shards if I don't have to, because I don't want to do that again, because that took like 10 hours or something. Speaking of which, we have surpassed 200 hours on this save, so that's fun. But that is going to be the end of today's video. We got so much progress done. We basically we have technically automated rocket fuel. We just have to place all the fuel generators to actually burn it, which is what we will be doing next time. Get all the fuel generators up and then actually connect up the power lines to everything. And these will all be deleted because these are just for flying around using the hover pack. That way I can easily place everything. So they'll all be gone, and then I'll figure out a reasonable method of routing the power. It might be easiest to do it along the catwalk supports, but then that would require me placing the catwalk supports. So we'll deal with that later, and then we'll finish up all the decorations as well, hopefully. Anyway, that'll be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.